friends. This is another episode of the program Empire of Lies, in which we discuss manipulation and disinformation in the Russian media, when war becomes realism. Once again, the Russian program 60 Minutes aired more than just opinion. The speech articulates a new Kremlin ideology, a mixture of fear, fatalism, and pseudo-geopolitical realism, where whoever has the most oil, gas, and missiles is right. 1. Peace as betrayal. The program begins with a recurring thesis. The West is supposedly preventing President Trump from achieving peace, while Europe is drawing the US into a major European war. The key to this assertion isn't the accusation, but the substitution. Russia portrays itself not as the aggressor, but as the victim of foreign intrigue, and the very idea of negotiations as a tool of pressure manipulated by European instigators. Thus, peace becomes a form of Western control, and resistance an expression of sovereignty. This is a classic pattern of Kremlin rhetoric: reverse responsibility and cast the West as the instigator, even when Moscow is waging war. 2. Ukraine as an object, not a subject. The second line of the broadcast is the erasure of Ukraine's subjectivity. Skabieva and her guests once again return to the thesis: Ukraine never existed, and its statehood is a temporary anomaly. This is not a historical error, it is the ideological basis of the war. If there is no state, then it can be corrected by force. If its borders are artificial, then they can be moved. If its people are lost, then they can be rescued. This is how the rhetoric of permitted violence is formed. For domestic viewers, it justifies any military action, and for external viewers, it creates a moral alibi. After all, the war is not against the people, but against a misunderstanding. According to Sky News, US President Trump intends to persuade Beijing to abandon its partnership with Moscow and join the pressure on the Russian president at his upcoming meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping. According to sources, the Trump-Xi summit itself is also in danger of being disrupted due to Donald Trump's harsh statements. China, meanwhile, wields powerful leverage, controlling 90% of the world's rare earth metal production. Meanwhile, India is playing its own double game. Having increased its imports of American oil to a record 540,000 barrels per day, New Delhi maintains Russia as its main supplier. For example, Polish Minister Tusk just stated in an interview with The Times that Ukraine, it turns out, has the right to attack Russian-linked targets anywhere in Europe. He called on Europeans to finally adopt the Polish way of thinking and support the Zelensky regime. Zelensky himself, left without tomahawks, is again threatening Russia with new long-range strikes, as he put it, expanding the strike zone. 3. Europe as a market, not a union. The next layer is economic. Europe is described not as a community of values, but as a market to be carved up. The presenter lists Hungary, Turkey, India, China, all playing their own game, all dual partners. The message behind this is simple: European unity is a fiction. Everyone thinks about money, do the same. This is precisely the meaning of the phrase about Europe's premium market, which the Americans entered after sanctions. Sanctions are not a means of pressuring an aggressor, but a way to enrich Washington. This is an attempt to infect Europe with cynicism, to replace principles with accounting, and to instill the idea, you're paying for someone else's war. 4. A blow to solidarity and the law. When the confiscation of Russian assets or the financing of Ukraine are discussed on air, the emphasis is crystal clear. Europe is robbing Russia, getting into debt, and enriching arms concerns. All of this serves one purpose: to destroy the sense of moral unity in European society and portray solidarity as economic madness. Some remarks about the deindustrialization of Germany or the collapse of the EU create the illusion of inevitable collapse, as if supporting Ukraine is tantamount to European suicide. Therefore, the conclusion is obvious: to survive, Europe must surrender. 5. Russia will win, so we must strike now. At the end of the broadcast, the climactic formula is heard: Russia will win anyway. Europe is weak. Better to strike now while it's not ready. This is no longer propaganda, but psychological mobilization. The talk of 2029, when Europe finally arms itself, is a justification for escalation, preparing the audience for a new phase of war. Such a statement doesn't simply threaten, it makes aggression the norm of the future, part of a realism to which we should supposedly get used to. This was the program Empire of Lies. See you soon.